movies and TV shows, comics and collecting and superheroes. There's no end to the useless stuff they know. But don't call them geeks, they're just regular Joes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
If you don't listen to episode 560, you're missing something.
Yes, you're
And
missing
checking
episode
out our-
560.
That is us going to the Star Trek set tour. I think while it will be a great listen, there's no way you will have nearly as good a time as we had.
Yes, this is true.
'Cause we had, go look on Instagram, check out our pictures. That is maybe 5 of 300 pictures.
Yeah, I went through our shared folder of photos, and there are 399 in there, not counting the 3D pictures.
Yeah.
So, but hey,
We should get
had a blast.
a shirt made with the photo of us in the somewhere, either on the bridge or in the transporter room.
That would be great.
That we need to have pictures hung up or something. Anyway, we had such a good time. Thank you, Brian, for bringing us up there. Thank you, James, for sitting down with us and for making such a fun place.
Yep.
It's really, you got to go.
And thank you, Mark. You know who you are.
Yep.
Yes, you do. If you're listening to this, you'll have something in the mail before you hear this episode. So we sent you a little something. So thank you. Yeah, and he's commenting and listening and doing all kinds of good stuff. So thank you. Today, we're going to talk Captain America 4. That's not calling that. It's Captain America Brave New World.
Brave New World.
freaking headphones.
Formerly New World Order. They did change
Yes.
the name on it, if you remember.
Was it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, whatever. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. We all saw it. Todd, when did you see it?
I saw it on Friday.
Friday. Okay, I saw it Saturday?
I think you saw it Saturday, and I saw it Sunday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. And let's go some random. Barry, what do you got?
I didn't come up with much, so I thought maybe it was a good time for us to take a look at upcoming movies, because I put together a list of movies I'm excited about that are coming out, and it feels like for the first time in a long time, there's a bunch of good movies, or a bunch of hopefully good movies anyway, coming out between now and the end of the year. So I just thought I'd run down a list real quick. First one, this was not on my list until I saw the trailer for it last night at Captain America, but there's a movie called Novocaine coming out that has oh god, I'm going to draw a blank on the actor's name. He's a guy. He's in not Strange New Worlds. He was in Lower Decks. He's Boimler, and he's in The Boys.
Oh, yep.
Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. Quaid.
Meg Ryan's son, Jack Quaid.
Jack Quaid looks interesting. He plays a guy who can't feel pain.
Yeah, I saw
So
that.
he's got
Anyway,
he's got 2 films coming out then, right? Because he's got the other one with the oh god, what's the other film? He has 2 films coming out
Okay.
imminently.
Anyway, I thought that one looked good. That's March 14th. Thunderbolts, May 2nd. I'm super excited for that. They had a giant Wheaties box with the Thunderbolts on it in my movie theater.
That's funny.
I took a picture of it. I'll send it to you guys. May 2nd. Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, May 23rd. I'm actually happy that I feel like by this time last cycle, they were showing us all the behind the scenes and how they did the motorcycle jump, and I'm kind of glad that there's not as much press for it and pre. I almost don't need to see behind
that
the
helped
scenes
so
before
much
the
last
movie
It's
comes
almost
out.
too much.
Yeah.
It almost. I hear you.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Karate Kid Legends, May 30th. I kind of wasn't on my radar. I have not finished Cobra Kai.
I am caught up to. I haven't started the 3rd section yet, but I watched the first 2.
I'm like section and a half behind, so I have
It's
to
the same.
finish it.
It's
I know it's more of the same. But
It's the best bad television there is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I'd see that in the theaters.
I'm not sure if that movie ties into the show or if it really picks up more from the movies. I didn't in the trailer. I didn't see anybody else from the show except for.
I did not see the trailer, so
Yeah, they showed it at my movie theater yesterday. June 6th, Ballerina.
Oh, finally.
They showed us a
Jeez.
trailer for that. And when I saw
you got
Captain
a lot
America,
of trailers.
we had a ton of trailers. July 2nd, Jurassic World Rebirth. The trailer actually looks okay.
I think it looks pretty good.
does.
And it's a little bit of a different. It's not like, hey, let's go to this place, everything will be fine, or let's open another park. It's good. Like, no, this is bad and it's dangerous.
Well, and they're saying this is the stuff that they wouldn't even bring to the island,
Yeah.
which is a different take on it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That looked like it could. I have high hopes for that.
I don't know if I'll see it in the theater. Scarlett Johansson, though, so you never know.
Yeah. All right, July 11th, Superman. I know we're all excited for that one.
Oh, yeah.
July 25th, Fantastic Four: First Steps. I'm excited for that.
Boy, there's a lot of stuff.
That's what I'm saying. When I really started looking at the list, I'm like, oh, there's some good stuff. Back half of the year, October 10th, Tron Ares. I knew it was being made, but I didn't realize it was coming out this year.
Neither did I.
November 7th, 2 movies coming out November 7th. The Running Man.
Really? Already? I didn't know it was done.
Coming out
I know
November
Glenn,
7th.
Glenn Powell, right?
Glenn Powell is the Running Man. And also November 7th, Predator Badlands. I don't usually see Predator movies in theaters, but, at least we know we have a new Predator movie coming.
I think, and I still haven't seen that movie, Prey. That doing well has helped this go to the theaters.
Prey was very good.
I have to watch that.
And then my last one on the list, December 19th, Avatar: Fire and Ash. You'll see it in the theater.
Well,
Also known as Avatar Crash and Burn. But yeah.
It's not. The last one made $1 billion.
I know, but it's like Fire and Ash.
And this one will
saying
too, but it'll be equally unmemorable as the first two.
I didn't see the first one. I didn't see the second one in the theaters.
Oh, you didn't?
No,
I did.
I don't. Depends what's going on in December.
Yeah, well, December 19th, it'll be right around the holidays. Mark's going to want to go. You're going to end up going.
I don't think he cares. I don't know that. He also hates The Rock, which has nothing to do with anything. But I'm like, oh, we watched,
the actor or the movie.
The actor, not the movie. We watched that Santa Claus thing, which I thought was good. Red One.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not watching. I hate The Rock. I'm like, what's wrong with The Rock?
He's okay. I don't have a
He
problem
does
with
the
him.
same thing every time, but so what? So does everybody.
He's The Rock in everything he's in. But
exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right. So anyway, that was my random. I just thought.
Tell him it's not The
run
Rock.
down
Tell him it's Dwayne Johnson. It's a different thing entirely.
Oh,
Exactly,
yeah. Well, when he's Dwayne, he's a totally different character.
Yeah. Anyway, Todd, what do you got?
So there is a YouTube series put out by PBS SoCal called Location Land, which is kind of cool. The first episode was all the shooting locations from Greece. The episode that came out this week is from Ed Wood's Plan 9 from Outer Space. And
that's cool.
It's very cool. It's short, about 15 minutes, but definitely worth a watch.
Now I know and you sent us the Grease one, and I watched it, and they actually had the director on, and he went on locations with them. Did they do that with Tim Burton?
They have different. Well, no. This is actually
Doubtful.
from the original film.
Oh, okay. So
Plan 9, not Ed Wood.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So
I conflated those two in my
So
head too.
was Ed Wood on? I'd like to know.
Ed Wood. They did not resuscitate Ed Wood.
They didn't
to
bring
do
Ed Wood
this,
back from the dead.
But
to do
there are knowledgeable people. Let's just say that.
Okay,
and,
that's cool.
And it's good. It's kind of cool. And again, it's a short thing, but it's if you love old films and just how films are made and stuff like that, and the decisions that go into things that seem timeless and super memorable. It's a cool watch.
I got to check that out.
So
yeah, I
seen
really enjoyed the Grease one. So
how long is the episode?
they're about 15 minutes. Yeah, so pretty short. So one of the films that you did not mention coming out this year, because it's not freaking coming out this year, is the Batman 2, which
Guess what? It's not even coming out next year.
it's coming out in 2027 theoretically.
Wow.
And Robert Pattinson says they expect to start filming at the end of the year. So it's like this is going to be 5 years after the first film, which is just crazy. But that is what they're doing.
You know what? I remember liking the movie. I have not watched it.
I've
at
actually
all since I
rewatched
saw
it a
the
couple times,
premiere.
and I probably will watch it every other year until the new one comes out.
Well, that's this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I do like it, but God, that's
It's
just
not
crazy.
it's not like, oh, Batman Begins was on. Let me jump in, watch a half an hour. It's a little heavier than that.
It's definitely heavier than that. And honestly, the more like I said, I think I've seen it 4 times. At least partially. I'm now questioning whether they need a sequel to this. So it is, as a standalone Batman movie, I think it's actually, one of the better Batman movies. They have huge potential to screw this up.
I think I'd be more excited if you told me there was a second season of Penguin coming out.
And that's the thing too. Does this
Penguin's gonna
mean?
be
Does
in
this
this
mean they're
probably.
not going to? Because they've got this time in between. I'd love to see them focus on another character or do more Penguin or do something like that. Because they did such a great job with that. And then jump back into this.
Well, we need a Batman, and if they're doing all this DC stuff now, the question is he the Batman?
He is not the
for
Batman.
this
They've
universe?
I think they said he
definitively
wasn't
said
gonna
this
be.
is not the Batman.
I think they're trying to figure that out. But it would be stupid for them. Okay, Superman comes out this year. It does well. Let's assume. Then they're going to follow up with some other nonsense, other characters, and how do you not have a Batman in this universe? And why can't
exactly?
it be this guy?
And that's what I'm saying. So then, do you have, 2 Batmen?
That's a
That
mistake.
is going to be complicated. That all ends up in something like the Flash movie. So, yeah, we do not have to wait till 2017 for Daredevil Born Again, which is in 15 days.
Oh, Jesus.
Every day,
I'm gonna wait.
Every day, I
I'm not
wake
gonna
up, I
see
check
that
that
in
little
the
box on my
theaters.
calendar every single day. So
Is it all? Is it? It's it's on. So
two
it's on
episodes.
Disney Plus.
Well, two
episodes.
episodes.
It's not. So we don't have to deal with Todd watching the whole 18 episodes.
Not sleeping
in one
yeah,
day.
exactly. So it's coming, and yeah. So
See, I might normally wait till half of it dropped, but I know I'm not going to be able to do that.
No, you're not going to be able
We're
to do
gonna
that.
need to talk about it on the show.
yeah, I'm giving you a week, and then we're talking about it. So
All right, I'll start it.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't mind the weekly as long as I have enough other stuff to watch. I just finished Night Agent. I won't talk about it.
I finished it.
Todd's not watching it.
I'm not watching it. I dropped off in the first one. So.
It's
not as good as the first season.
Not as good as the first one. It's mildly okay, and the world would be ended if Rose didn't exist.
Yes.
Anyway,
Okay.
It's a little. There's so many things seriously, that's ridiculous. Anyway,
So I did one more thing while we're on. I did watch The Gorge this weekend, which just came out on Apple Plus.
yeah, I want to watch that, so don't spoil it.
I'm not spoiling it. It's don't set your expectations high for the plot or whatever like this, but it's fun.
I didn't. I'm shocked those two were in.
It is interesting.
This
That's the
movie
thing.
at all.
So it's you've got 2.
Apple paid him a lot of money.
I'm sure they did.
Probably.
And this was not a cheap thing to make.
Free iPhones.
But I think there has been it's getting very high fan ratings and low critic ratings.
Of course.
I think people do not know how to pigeonhole this thing because it crosses a whole lot of genres.
Yeah.
And give it a try. And I definitely recommend
I want to
watching
watch it. So I made a list.
There's
Reacher's coming out
Yep.
soon, this week, next
Yep.
week. There's a couple other things.
Yeah, we
Anyway.
watched the trailer for The Gorge the other night and ended up not watching it. But
Yeah.
based on your recommendation, maybe we will actually.
Actually, we watched the trailer for that, and I said we were upstairs in the small TV room, and I'm like, that seems like a downstairs movie, so let's not watch it. It's definitely a movie theater movie.
Did either of you watch any of Saturday Night Live last night on Sunday?
We watched the whole thing.
You
we
did.
watched
I
2
watched-
hours of it last night and an hour and a half.
I
more
watched
today.
some of it. Some was not funny at
Some
all.
of it was it was so typically Saturday Night Live. Some of it just crashed and burned and did not
Debbie
land.
Downer was horrific.
Yeah.
Did you spot
actually-
Dave Mandel?
Oh no, was he there? I didn't.
So there was a bit about how all the writers were,
I didn't see the
in
whole
a
thing.
separate place, and then they had all the writers standing outside on the street, like they couldn't get into the show, and Dave
that's
Mandel
funny.
was amongst
that's
the
funny.
writers.
That's
Oh,
funny.
good for him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, there was some.
We'll probably hear about
There was some
that.
good bits in there, and
The I did see on YouTube the Tina Fey and Amy Poehler with the questions. I thought that was funny.
I thought Adam Sandler's song was really cool.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
It was poignant, yeah.
It-
I was glad that Mike Myers showed up as
It's
the
Linda
coffee
Richmond,
talk
yep.
lady. Yeah.
Yeah. And
God, his career went nowhere. Wow.
and
Like was Joe Piscopo on it?
No.
no,
Why not?
I don't know. I mean, there
Eddie
were certain
Murphy
people that it was amazing. I mean, they had 3 of the original, 4 of the original cast members there.
Yeah.
Chip,
I'm surprised. Like Joe Piscopo when it was the Eddie Murphy days, Joe Piscopo was as funny as Eddie Murphy.
yeah,
in
it's true.
so
It's
many
true.
things.
It was funny seeing Eddie Murphy play Tracy Morgan alongside Tracy Morgan.
That was really funny.
yeah.
And I don't know if you saw it, but later in the show, there was a bit where Eddie Murphy and Kenan Thompson played convicts that were
straight
trying to
guys.
scare these people.
Yeah.
they kept
yes.
laughing themselves.
Yeah.
It was. I thought it was funny, and they were cracking
They
themselves
were cracking.
up.
It was
great.
it was funny. That,
It
like,
was very funny.
the cue card reading in this was hilarious because like they'd be saying something, and they look up and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's what I'm supposed to be saying," and
When I realized that they were describing Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, and then they went on to the Nutty Professor, and it was just like
pretty funny.
And then Elf, he says, "I'm talking about Elf. I'm just."
Yeah, because then Will Ferrell came out too. That was
God.
that to me was one of the funniest bits.
That
on the
was
whole thing.
funny, and then something like that Debbie Downer thing was so horrible
Yeah.
and not funny.
Yeah,
I give them credit. They did a 3.5 hour show, which
Seriously.
Oh,
was
it's not easy.
And-
it's not easy to do
you
that
know,
at all.
and bringing Sir Paul out there at the end, it's just like
And I'm a huge fan,
Yeah.
but he cannot sing anymore.
yeah, but still,
and-
it
but
doesn't
he's
matter.
enjoying
It
himself.
doesn't matter.
And that's all that
Bringing him out
matters.
there for just that presence. That's.
But he played 3 surprise shows at the Bowery Ballroom last week in New York, and it was every day. It was you'd get a text message: tickets go on sale now. First come,
really?
first serve. $50, 1 ticket per person. He played 3 2.5 hour shows last week.
Why would he do that to his voice?
And that was probably because he was in town for they were doing
Yeah.
stuff for this, but
I mean, you can only fit 600 something people in that place. He played 3 very small shows, which would have been great to be at.
yeah,
But he just musically, it's great. His voice is shot.
yeah. But again,
I thought they would have brought Ringo out too, because I watched Saturday Night Live from the beginning. I've missed decades in between, but I remember when they kept on trying to get the Beatles to come back for $3,000,
Yeah.
but now at least get the last.
they
You know
kept.
that
I tell you,
there's
they
a
kept
story
focusing
behind
on the
that.
drummer behind Paul, and and I was like, oh, are they going to swap drummers? They're just going to.
Well, they were focused on him because he's a great drummer. But
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I don't. Yeah. But
Yeah.
but he was. It was just like I said. It was interesting to see. And again, like I said, I thought the musical guests were really interesting. It was a good show. Good show.
I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I will say that back in the 70s,
I'm sorry,
there's-
five original cast members. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they had Garrett Morris towards the end.
Yeah.
But there's like legend or rumors that there was a night where Paul and John were sitting in a hotel room watching that and going, we should go down there.
Yeah.
And they ultimately didn't do it, but they were like, we should go down there.
That would have been cool.
That would have been history right there.
It was weird that Dan Aykroyd wasn't on. I don't know why.
And he,
I don't know why either.
commented online, and he wrote posts online about how great it was, and all this kind of stuff. So he's, something's going on there.
Bill Murray.
I don't know what that is.
Bill Murray's bit in Weekend Update was pretty funny too, I thought.
It was.
I didn't see that. I'll watch all that
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah. No,
But it's funny. Instead of watching The Gorge, we decided to watch that Saturday night movie,
yep.
which was unwatchable. I thought it was horrible.
Brian loves that movie.
I know.
I
Brian
enjoyed
loves
it. I did enjoy
Really?
it.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was funny
It's a
at
little
all.
intense. Like there's no downtime at all in that movie.
I didn't even understand what they were talking
Barry,
about.
did you-
It was all mumbling.
Barry, did you remember that John Belushi video
No.
I see. I remembered that, and I've thought of that a couple times.
Jesus,
over the years,
wasn't he
but
the first to die?
He was the first to die, and then
was.
immediately goes to Gilda Radner, who was the second. And it was, yeah. So
But when Garrett Morris introduced it, I thought it was going to be some like uplifting thing, and instead
no,
it's
it's
just
very
weird.
ironic, and that was
Well, at
yeah,
the beginning,
that
it
was.
would have.
I think that was the
it was
last
funny back
episode
then.
that John Belushi was. I think it was when John Belushi was leaving the show, but yeah, very very ironic.
Yeah,
so
that's miserable.
I would have liked to have seen the concert that they did a couple nights earlier, but it's only on Peacock, and I refuse to pay for Peacock.
Yeah.
So.
I will never pay for Peacock.
There was an ad. I had an offer the other day, $30, $29.99 for a year of Peacock, and I still wouldn't
Not worth it.
subscribe.
You know, I'm not going to Fanboy Collectibles. One of the trailers I saw was for The Accountant 2. Did any of you guys see the first Accountant movie?
Sounds vaguely
No.
Ben
familiar.
Affleck's
yeah,
what's the
it
word?
was like a mind wipe thing.
No.
That wasn't
not
that?
at all. He's that wasn't
Fixer?
that.
He's something. I remember.
He's
this.
like a hitman
Yeah.
and accountant.
Oh,
and
right.
he's
It
also
wasn't the one
on
where
the
they
spectrum,
wipe his
big
brain
time.
out after his job.
It was actually not a bad movie. I just watched it again not that long. But that's coming out with this, and him and John Berthal are in it. The first one is interesting, but they're doing a second one. It's a shoot 'em up movie.
You know they're making Now You See Me 3? Or they've made
First
it.
of all, what's the biggest problem with Now You See Me?
I know what you're going to say, and that's the reason I went here. So Jesse Eisenberg, I actually listened to him on Smart List the other day.
Oof.
It was I actually enjoyed listening to his show, his episode.
Really?
I saw
I
the
thought it was
first one. It was okay. You know, it was just
it
like
was very full of itself.
it's very
in
full of
the- in
itself,
the
but it's
making.
also like let's do Ocean's 11 and be very self-satisfied while we're doing it, and yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like the.
I'm not
the
going
fact
to
that
derail
there's-
the whole show by saying this, so I'll just drop this and then we'll move on. But I rewatched Batman v Superman the other day. Jesse Eisenberg is not that bad in that movie. He's really not.
Barry. That's why.
Okay,
no
write
one
this down for
takes-
future topics. Tear Barry
No
down about Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
That's why
you
no
know,
one
Okay, I will say this.
takes your opinions to heart because they're
No,
wrong.
there are people out there that actually value my opinion because I'm not so hardcore as you guys.
Okay, Barry, I will say this. He's not the worst thing with that film.
No,
He is not.
definitely not.
So
He's up
there are
there.
worse
He's
things.
up
There are
there.
worse things in that film,
He's horrible in that movie.
No, he's not.
and yet there are worse things in that film.
He actually
It's
gives
like-
a really nuanced performance.
No, he doesn't. He gives the opposite of a nuanced performance. It's so over the top and just so like you have no sense of what Lex
I
Luthor
think
is.
I understand the problem though is that I don't have nearly as much invested in the Superman in the DC universe period as you guys do. So I'm
Keep
just
on saying that, but you proclaim to like the bad movies.
there. You go. I don't know.
Anyway, Goonies 2 is also
Yes.
being made.
Yep.
Are they really though? Is it really being made? Have you heard it from an official source?
I don't know.
Because I keep hearing that they want to, but
I don't even remember the Goonies.
that would be a
1
huge
movie,
mistake.
really. Okay, let's go back to something actually interesting. So, Todd, you brought up and we talked about the fact that in Alien Romulus, did we see the Narcissus shuttle in the background?
I think
So,
Barry
Fede
brought that up, but
Alvarez,
yes, yeah.
Fede Alvarez did a whole thing in an no, I guess he was showing the film at some event and talked about it and said, absolutely, that was the Narcissus. Not only that, but the way he sees it, Ripley was in and around that Renaissance station, and then they put her back on the shuttle. So he's
Why
like sort
would
of
they do that?
rewriting canon that she was there. Whether she remembers it or not, I don't
One
know.
of
There's
the-
no reason for her to have been taken off that shuttle and put on that station.
But the whole thing, the point he made sense. It's like they found the wreckage of the Nostromo, and then here's the shuttle that's like an escape pod with a beacon. How could they not have found that? You know, he's like Weyland Yutani's capabilities.
But if they found it and they had a live human on it, why would they have not?
Probably because they're harvesting the alien from it.
No, because they're a corporate entity, and no one wanted to take responsibility for it, and so they kept her on ice for another X number of years, until it was transported back to Earth, and they, you know, somebody at some level said, "Yeah, leave her frozen. This is corporate property, and we'll examine the Nostromo, figure out what's going on, review the law, you know, that kind of stuff." Yeah.
Read the article on Geek Tyrant. It sort of gets into it.
All right, I'll take a look at that.
Yep.
And he said, not only do we see the Narcissus in one shot, and it had, because that space station, spoilers, is blowing up, it has to be seen leaving. So they have there are two shots, one of it in docked and one of it leaving.
So it basically could have been found twice. That could also be the other thing. It could have been found,
like they found it,
brought back there, and then it lost again. So, yeah.
Interesting. And I wonder if that in some way is going to tie into a sequel. Who knows? But, what else do I got? So The Last of Us is gonna end after 4 seasons. They've announced that.
The second season hasn't even aired yet.
It's been a year or a year plus, and we haven't even seen the second season. Like, seriously? And when the hell is that coming?
I mean, have they signed them up for 4 seasons? And
you wouldn't have made that announcement unless you didn't have a commitment from the actors.
They said Pedro Pascal is fully committed to 4 seasons, as evidenced by the fact that he won't shave his beard for Fantastic Four. The article said that. No, it didn't. But
okay, well,
anything else? You know what I have? Fanboy Collectibles. Check them out. Andor Pops. Lots of them. That's coming up soon, right? April?
Yeah, it's actually a few weeks away.
Deadpool and Wolverine props. Pops, not props. That's up there. Iron Studios Red Hulk statue, a big one. But they got Hot Toys and Sideshow and Hasbro and Kotobukiya and all kinds of stuff.
They got the guy from
toys.
Squid Game, Hot Toys Squid Game guy. They got a Betty Page statue. You don't see enough Betty Page merchandise. There's good stuff.
Yeah.
Something for
everything
everybody.
You need. There is something for everyone. Check those guys out. Check them out online, fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the regular Joe sent you.
If you need a $925 MODOK statue, they have you covered.
Someone needs it.
Yeah. Why not?
Absolutely. And don't forget, FromDavesWorkshop.com for all your prop display and plaque needs. Not a paid sponsor. Okay. From Dave's Workshop on Instagram and Facebook, too. Like us. You guys should be doing that commercial. Why do I have to do my own?
You know,
because we're both waiting for our check. That's all. It's like
if you need a model painted, BarryK.com.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Check it out.
Yeah. No, listen, Dave, we fully support what you're doing. You know that. We're very happy that it's going well so far, and we look forward to all the cool stuff you're going to do.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And, you know, while you're in the mood to like and subscribe to things, do that for us as well. If you like this podcast, like and subscribe.
Or even if you think it's just okay.
Yeah.
Like us.
That's good.
Like
That's
us
good,
anyway.
too.
We like it when you like us.
Yes. People are liking these Star Trek pictures.
Yeah, we had really good response to the show from last week, both on YouTube and on Facebook and on Instagram. So,
and there will be Viewmasters available soon.
Yes,
at least for us.
Maybe we'll sell them at cost. We'll give them to you at cost. Okay, Captain America: Brave New World. Now.
All right. Can I just say something?
Go for it.
Is it about Brian?
No, it's not about
Okay.
Brian.
Okay.
Brian, I guess, wanted to talk about it right away, even though we hadn't all seen it yet.
He hated it, apparently.
Yeah,
but
apparently he didn't like it.
he
I
also
will
liked
say
the
this,
Saturday Night
and I
movie.
know we'll get into it, but it just would have been nice if anybody, Marvel maybe, but anybody would have said the 2008 Hulk movie was required viewing before you go into this movie, because it really would have helped if I was a little more familiar with the goings-on in that movie, which I hadn't seen since 2008, going into this movie.
I will say that is probably the one thing I keep going back to about this film, and I've thought a lot about it, is the two films with significant callbacks are the most forgotten film in the MCU,
and the worst,
and the film
one.
that everyone wants to forget from the MCU.
Absolutely.
So it's like from the
out there.
Hulk with the wrong actor to the Eternals, which they said the Eternals will return. Apparently, this was it. Why let those be your hooks?
Let's not also forget the TV show, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show, was kind of required viewing for this too.
You think so?
Now,
Otherwise, you wouldn't have any idea who that guy was.
What guy was?
Isaiah?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, he's a fairly pivotal character in
They
that.
backstored him. They put his backstory in there.
A little
Yeah.
bit.
Well, the funny thing is, I saw it at the Alamo, and the Alamo does a great job of recapping everything you need to know. They went to the Incredible Hulk. They went. They didn't really dig into the Eternals, which it doesn't really matter. But they did give like a 5-minute recap or 10-minute recap of Falcon and Winter Soldier that I didn't remember half of it. So, yeah, that is a little odd. Like, those are two very not remembered movies.
And I didn't dislike this movie, so I just want to. I'm complaining right up front, but I didn't dislike this movie, but it really felt like there was everybody keeps saying, we keep saying that there's a lot riding on this. Like, this is almost like a pivot point for the MCU, and to make this be so steeped in so many, and it's not even like it was steeped in a movie that came out 3 years ago, 2008.
But
the villain for this, I didn't remember that villain at all.
And it was a throwaway scene, okay, in that movie, and that's where, like, they had an opportunity here to do, I don't want to say a clean break, but almost like a cold restart, and make a movie where you didn't have to have seen all these other things, and you didn't have all these callbacks, and just essentially reintroduce this Cap for new generation. And this is very mired in old shit. It really is.
They did a good job of, sort of explaining background if you didn't see that stuff.
But Dave, if you didn't see it at the Alamo and they hadn't have shown you that stuff, how top of mind would any of that have been?
I'll tell you. I happen to like The Incredible Hulk.
I do too.
And I probably watched it within the past 2 or 3 years.
And did you remember Dr. Stearns?
What'd you say?
Did you remember Dr. Stearns?
Vaguely.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying.
Vaguely.
It is an inconsequential thing in that movie. Though I do like the idea that this doctor brings his diploma to the secret basement laboratory where he's in prison. But
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, just of course, I didn't spend 7 years in evil, medical school to be called Mister. Yeah. So in the comics, that character is the leader. They never actually went there, but
is it?
Yeah, that's still.
Well, the thing is, they really dug into Thunderbolt Ross in this, and what we got of him in every other movie isn't much.
No,
a couple of holograms here and there.
Well, he's also but that's what they needed. He's a military leader caricature guy,
but they wanted to dig into this. I mean, here's the thing. To me, I agree with both of those things. I was like, what the hell? Eternals? Like, I mean,
well, but
the adamantium doesn't make sense either. Like, where's Wolverine's adamantium from? A meteorite or something?
But that Wolverine isn't really in this universe yet.
I guess not.
But I'm glad that they finally addressed the celestial thing.
Why?
Maybe it's because it happened, and this giant thing is sticking out of the Indian Ocean, and they've, other than a throwaway line, and I think it was Spider-Man on it was like a news show on a TV screen or something. They haven't really addressed it, so I don't mind that they did that, but so good. They finally they checked that box, but
you could have could have been accomplished without even knowing about Eternals. That was fine.
Yeah, but without knowing about Eternals,
thing is
without knowing about Eternals, you really didn't understand what it was. Like they said it, it was whatever, but they're calling it an island. It was a living thing. Now they're calling it an island.
And now it's an island.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That didn't bother me as much as the, because it wasn't just the Samuel Stearns thing. There was a lot of tiebacks to the Hulk. And I would have rewatched it the other night had I known, just to have it be top of mind. It almost should have been part of the marketing of this thing.
Well, the thing
that would
have
have turned people off, Barry. It's
they're not going to. People aren't going.
Well, but
you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it
but,
if you don't see this film. Is not a lead-in for a film.
No, I'm not saying that should have been it, but even if it had been part of the social media marketing or something, just something to say, hey, you may want to familiarize yourself with this movie. I don't know. I wish that I had, because I'm going to rewatch it now, but it probably would have been more helpful rewatching it in advance. That's all. So if you haven't seen this movie yet, I recommend you watch 2008 Incredible Hulk first.
I mean, the thing is that the Stern is not much in it.
No, there's not much in it. And
other than Lily,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. The
Betty Ross
connection to his daughter, I don't think it's that significant. And again, you can watch the last, 5 minutes or 10 minutes and get the, doctor thing. Yeah. I
guess.
The thing, I was definitely, while I'm watching it, I'm like, I can't believe they went to those two movies, that the least memorable movies, like Todd said, of the MCU, until I realized, like, 3/4 of the way through it. And, this sort of goes back to, this is a super important movie because they can't drop the ball. But this, I thought it was going to be, this is somehow going to be a bigger picture thing, and it's not. It's a self-contained movie. It is. And as a self-contained movie, I thought they did a good job with it.
Pretty much the only thing from this is, we need to restart the Avengers, and whether that idea carries forward from this or not, that's really the only thing that comes out of this that's ongoing. It's
like Winter Soldier in that nowhere near as good, but Winter Soldier's
Winter Soldier completely changed the game for the MCU.
Yeah,
taking S.H.I.E.L.D. off the board.
I guess so. You're right. You're right. I'm trying to think what's it was a standalone movie, and
and that's why
it's better.
I wanted to say up front,
it didn't accomplish a lot.
I didn't dislike it as a standalone story. It's not bad, and I enjoyed the movie. Like, it was a fun movie. I don't think it rocked, the MCU, and I don't think it did anything huge for the MCU. It didn't hurt anything. It answered a couple of questions.
If you took Falcon and the Winter Soldier and edit it down to 2 hour and 15-minute movie, it wouldn't be a lot different than this movie. It's the same thing. It's a story about certain characters that and you can see this or not see this. I don't think it's going to change things to what you're saying. I don't think it's going to change things all that much. They introduced a character, and then they took that character, two characters, and then took them off the board. So
and I was talking to my wife about this when we were eating dinner tonight, and all right, so the next one, and I'm excited about Thunderbolts, but it's another movie that if you haven't seen 5 other things, you're not going to understand who some of these characters are.
Oh, I think you will. I think they'll. The thing is, when you saw Suicide Squad, you didn't know who any of those characters were. Okay, when you saw Guardians, you didn't know who any of those characters were.
I understand that, but those weren't characters that were introduced in other.
But Barry, you don't
properties.
Need to know. It's like when you go to see Pulp Fiction, you don't need to know what the people ate for breakfast the day before. It's the if the characters are interesting on their own, you follow the characters.
It depends on how well they build out those characters.
Hang on, let me just adjust what you just said. Like Pulp Fiction, you go in; these are all brand new characters, and there are no backstories. Every one of these people in the Thunderbolts has a MCU live action backstory that maybe won't be relevant to the movie. We don't know yet, but it's not this. I can't equate it to what you said. That's a totally different thing.
Why? If somebody's never seen any of those other movies and they effectively make a movie that you can walk in and in the first 20 minutes get a sense of who everybody is and what they can do, aren't they doing what they're supposed to be doing?
I guess we'll have to wait and
again,
see
we're
how
not
how
talking
it plays
about
out.
We're talking about a couple enhanced people, but nobody's got a hard to understand power set. So it's not like you've got to say, oh, he's got heat vision and he's got this and he's got this and he's got this. A lot of it is just fighting skills and that kind of thing. I think.
Yeah.
I just feel like they need to be able to tell stories that don't require so much previous.
But that's the thing. They're trying to do that. We, as people who've seen all of it, are thinking everything's interconnected. And
I'm
it
saying,
may be familiar characters, but they may not be interconnected.
They need to make that movie
Taskmaster
so you can
and
walk
Ghost?
in and understand it, having seen nothing.
What do you know about Taskmaster now? Nothing, really. She was a Russian.
No, we know a lot about
girl.
her. We know who her father was. We know that
It doesn't matter.
He
None of that
turned her
matters.
into, like,
Yeah, but that's fine. You are also a completist
Yes.
in that you want it all to make sense. I think
if you don't want it to tie together, then use new characters. Don't bring characters back from old movies and shows.
If you ask normals what the best, going back a while, if you ask normals what the best Star Trek movie was, invariably, what did they tell you?
2009.
What's that? No, it was the Whales movie.
2009
It was the Whales movie.
Oh.
Okay? Everybody could
Is it?
relate
I
to
don't
that.
think so.
Okay? It was not a complicated thing. But when you talk to normal people, that was the one
but
that
everybody
they liked.
know who's Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock is. Nobody
Exactly.
So
That's what
my
I'm saying.
point being,
But they didn't have to they didn't have to understand who the aliens were. They didn't have to
But you're
understand.
talking about historically important key characters from franchises. These are not that.
But I'm saying you don't have to. That movie didn't need a bunch of backstory to have you understand what was going on. Okay, the premise was simple.
because
I'm saying,
you understood who Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock were.
I agree. I think that's a little different, but
My
I
point
don't
is
think...
that when Maria and I were talking about it tonight, she watched the Thunderbolts trailer with me yesterday, and she was asking me, who are all these people? And I'm like, you've seen all of them, but she doesn't even remember them.
yeah, but that's why you go to a movie, Barry. I mean, it's like the whole point is, it's like I said, if they're doing their job, you don't need to go in with a program. And
they have to do their job because, like Guardians of the Galaxy, you ended that movie knowing all about those
what you needed to know.
4 or 5 people, and hopefully they're going to do that with this.
Right,
A
but
bad
Guardians of
movie
the Galaxy didn't start with 5 characters that had been in other Marvel properties to begin with. They were brand new characters that we
Barry,
got
for
introduced
people
to.
going to, there are many people going to
They're
this
gonna
movie
explain
that
who
will
these people
never
are.
have seen anything prior to this. Okay, there are.
They're going to have to,
and I
to
hope
do
it
their
works.
job. They'll have to.
Let's just leave it there. I hope it works.
Again,
I hope they do a
it's
good
like-
enough job that they don't have to spend a half hour of exposition explaining who all these people are.
And part of that is in the ads campaign right now because that's what they're they're
That's
showing.
true.
People, they're IDing people, they're name checking people, they're
And you got to see some obscure stuff here too.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
you gotta
that's
see
the other thing
Falcon
too
and
is
the
like
Winter Soldier.
these things are layered where if you go to this thing and you don't understand all the Easter eggs, okay, it bothers you, but those don't even pop up for most people. People are not they're not going online, they're not looking up these breakdown videos and stuff. They just skim right over those things. That's the whole point of an Easter egg.
See, that's the thing, Barry. You're concerned about someone who's not you.
Yeah.
You know who all these people are.
No, that's not even true, Dave, because I was annoyed that I felt like I should have watched the Hulk movie before I saw this movie.
That's because
But have you watched the Hulk movie?
You should have watched it.
What?
Have you ever seen the Hulk movie?
Yeah, in 2008.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know why
It's
you
like
haven't
almost
rewatched
20
that.
years
again,
ago.
Barry, if you remembered this guy or didn't remember this guy, it was a 30-second scene. There was a throwaway thing.
I didn't remember.
So why
this
do you
guy.
bother to bring him, a guy that was in 30 seconds of a movie 18 years ago?
Because
back
if you
as your
remembered
villain?
it, it's cool. If you didn't, it's an existing Marvel character that they already have a copyright on.
All right, we can agree to disagree and move on. Let's just talk about this movie.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, it was what's it, a 6.5, 7 maybe?
Six and
I thought
a half.
I thought the the couple of things that we were saying, is he going to take the serum? They kind of handled that, answered that pretty
did.
well.
They definitely answered it. But,
it's good that they addressed that.
but
He's
I
like,
still
should've, I
question,
didn't.
like, some of what he can do, he shouldn't be able to do without serum. No matter how much Wakanda tech they give him.
Well, that's true of almost anything.
But
in
he's
these movies.
got like video game human capabilities. It's not like it's not real human
and
capabilities.
he's been trained by this Isaiah, which is cool.
Yes.
I always
That's kinda
thought, though,
cool.
that like just the throwing of the shield and how he could make that bounce off things, I thought that was a Steve Rogers thing because he had the serum. Falcon shouldn't be able to do that.
I don't think if you caught that shield, you'd be cut in
Right,
half.
even with the
or
Wakanda
knocked out.
tech in that suit, I don't think he'd be able to do that.
I
targeting
don't.
of
I
it
mean,
and
these are also comic book movies, Barry. It's like you gotta, you can totally disregard physics for Star Wars, but
Look at Hawkeye.
But that's
Hawkeye
what I'm
has
saying.
no
It's like,
powers.
but this, it's got no. It's just a thing. It's just it's like if you practice with the shield, if you throw it into a bunch of trees like you did in the miniseries, eventually you get the balance figured out.
If you really want to get into it, in theory, vibranium absorbs all.
Yes.
So like when Steve in Winter Soldier jumps out the window and lands on it, it sort of absorbs all impact.
Yep.
My guess is, and I'm not a physicist anymore, if you throw that against a tree, it probably should just drop. It should
not
bounce
embed
the way
itself
it
in the
bounces.
tree. Yeah, that's the thing.
But it bounces off the tree. But
Yep.
if it absorbs power, it's getting a slingshot effect, and it shouldn't based on its properties. I'm guessing.
Okay, but also I think it's like one of those little Tibetan bowl things. If it's rotating at the right frequency, it has different characteristics. I'm telling you, no, it's all made up crap. It's
Anyway,
just this
it's
is a comic book movie.
these are
I think personally, the wings and the shield are a bit much. It's just a lot going on there, particularly when you've got like
He kind of needs them.
oh,
though.
he kind of
need
does.
them.
I'm just saying, it's he's got these wraparound armored force shield wing things going on.
It's cool that they had the Black Panther stuff built into them.
Yeah. No, it
thought that was
kind of
kinda
is,
cool.
but there's just like I said, a lot going on there. I will say I did like that the quasi Falcon guy went back to the had the original Falcon, the gold and green Falcon
that was
colors
good.
from the 1960s. That was kind of a cool thing.
And his sucked. His didn't do nearly as good.
Well,
job.
no, I mean that was kind of the point, was that he wanted the upgraded Wakanda suit, but doesn't have it.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of Ruth? Because that was maybe the character that didn't work for me the most.
Well, in reality, she is someone who had some disease that stunted her growth, yet joined the Israeli military, even though she was exempt from it. So there's a whole story to this actress.
Oh, you're saying that that's the actual actress herself? That's her story?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
The character.
I was like, she's no Black Widow. Why is she? Why are you saying she's a widow?
It was an odd thing to stick in there.
Well, now that diversity and inclusion is not a thing, we won't have any more
We
of that.
will not have any. I don't know how to categorize her, but let's just say.
Well, it was also there were a couple of points in the movie where it really stood out that they had like reshot portions of this movie, because towards the end when they're at the Indian Ocean and she steps off the helicopter and she's got like a uniform on under her jacket that looks like a Captain America styled uniform that she never had earlier in the movie and they don't reference at all later in the movie, and she never did anything that would have required her to have like that kind of armor.
I think Black Widow still got a closet somewhere and she just grabbed her gear.
It was just weird, but yeah, I mean, it felt like they were trying to maybe shoehorn her in as a future, replacement for Natasha.
I kind of felt like they were trying to capture the Steve, Natasha, and Sam thing from Winter Soldier, and
that didn't work.
And it didn't work.
And now that you've said that about the actress, Dave, I feel bad saying it, but she just physically just didn't look like a threat at all, and like didn't seem like somebody who would have been trained in the Widow program, and certainly didn't seem physically capable.
I think that was their point.
I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah, and it originally, and the other thing too is that character in the comics is in Mossad, and they backed off from that
in the comics, right? She's a mutant in the comics.
Yeah, and they took and she's kind of a, been good and bad, but they separated that element from her, probably for political reasons, but yeah, that was an odd insertion. I also just don't know if we needed more of Isaiah Bradley. I'm not sure that added that much to this. I know they extensively reshot this film. I'd be really curious to see what the original script was like and what it was about.
Well, what I read today was that they did 22 days of reshoots, and they were trying to stress, like, it's not that many days. But that's actually, if you look at the total shooting schedule, it's a third of the shooting schedule was reshoots.
Oh.
Well, I think they him. He was sort of. I think he was this symbol of what was going on. I didn't have a problem with him.
Well, I didn't have a problem, but it was like what happened here that they didn't address in the miniseries. They just hammered the same points again.
No one saw the miniseries, though.
No, but I'm saying this guy gets screwed over. This is, that's who he was. You get screwed over. Well, it happened again. It's I don't know. I was fine with that.
I don't. Again, this is now going into speculation territory, Todd. But I was reading some stuff today, and there's shots in a bunch of the trailers that obviously didn't make it into the movie, and you could tell some of it was reshot. But there was a funeral scene in one of the trailers that speculation is that was actually Ross's funeral, and they ultimately decided not to kill him at the end of it because it wasn't a good look for Captain America to kill the sitting president of the United States. So they did that scene at the end, and you could tell when Sam was giving that speech to Ross as Red Hulk, he was in front of a green screen. Like that was not good CG. So that clearly was. I think that was added in towards the end, and it was reshot.
I was assuming when I saw the funeral thing and the thing that it was Isaiah Bradley's funeral. That's what I assumed when I saw it. So interesting.
But who knows? I mean, we'll never know what the original version.
That's the thing. I'm just taking what was on the screen. Whether they reshot, didn't reshoot, doesn't make a difference to me.
No, whatever they did, I mean, it felt like a cohesive story. It didn't feel pieced together and chunked together. So
yeah, that's the thing. I felt like it was cohesive. It was not a giant story. It was a smaller story, and there was some fun stuff. I mean, I don't think we will, and I certainly don't think we need to see Red Hulk again.
No,
I can't imagine Harrison Ford coming back and doing this.
No, I can't. But I also think they didn't leave him in a place where he can really come back.
And I don't think he needs to.
I don't think he needs to. I mean, there was serious
thing.
irony him looking at them reversing positions from where they were at the end of Civil War.
Yeah.
And that was interesting.
He's not a great guy. I mean,
no, and it hasn't been.
But
and that
seemed like he was. I mean, they kept driving home the point that he was trying to change.
Yeah,
but he'd done some bad stuff, and
and continued to. I mean, look at all the stuff that went on with this Stearns guy. I mean,
well, again, that was he was trying to work out the stuff he'd done in the past, And it's yeah. So
And only in a fictional movie
who
do
hasn't
you have a president.
enabled a supervillain without realizing what you're really doing?
We can't have a president that's a bad guy. That's just fiction.
Yeah, that's right. So
It was until Liv Tyler showed up at the end. I thought with that whole phone call, I thought that was like pieced together from all dialogue or something. I didn't actually think she had any part in this movie until she showed up at the end.
yeah, and again, very touching, but her scenes were with a different actor, and it's just, again, it's one of those things that you said, if you'd seen the other film, it would have made more sense.
But he shaved his mustache, so
He shaved his mustache, so he's
he
clearly
looks
a
just like
different
William
guy.
Hurt.
Well, not only her boyfriend and her father are two different people. So.
Exactly. This woman is so confused. It's like none of her pictures match anymore. It's like, I hadn't even
But if
thought
you
of that.
take it at-
Interesting too that there was really they I think they did one Banner reference, but that was it.
Yeah, they did mention Banner briefly.
But not, there was no real Hulk tie-in other than everything to Hulk, because I guess it was just glaringly obvious it was a different Hulk. So,
I mean, if I take it at face value, it was better than a lot of the other movies we've gotten.
no doubt.
and
yes, but
it was fun.
Yeah, I don't want it to sound like I'm shitting all over it. It was a fine movie. I enjoyed it. It's just at the end of the day, it almost. I was hoping it would mean more. I guess I'm hoping that it was,
they made some odd choices, and I'm it's like, okay, how do you market a 107-year-old congressional candidate who used to be a Soviet assassin? That's what I want to know.
I was going to go there next. That was on my last.
Why? What was the point of that?
How could they ever
in this
let
day
him
and
run
age,
for office?
with the people, Marjorie Taylor Greene, these other pieces of shit who were in Congress and
Okay,
Senate,
I'm just saying it's like
it's easy.
Yeah,
But this movie was conceived and written well before like that. They
No,
didn't
she's
just
been a-
shoehorn that in just to make a political commentary. I don't know.
I did
how was he
appreciate
in the
seeing him.
Thunderbolts?
It was just that context was weird. That was just really
and-
strange.
And in the Thunderbolts, he's a congressman, and they need. I don't know. how
I
that's
think in
working.
the Thunderbolts, we're seeing his he didn't win, and this is his. He's gone back to doing sketchy
It is
stuff.
an odd choice.
And now
I
he
don't
washes
know.
his arm in the dishwasher. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I didn't realize that if you get the new electric Hummer, that it's got a place to store your shield in the front.
That's cool though. That's,
The Tesla has a place to store
Yeah,
your shield.
that was cool. I was like, oh look, it's a shield
it's
compartment.
probably
Still an
vibranium powered. So
It might
It's
be.
an ugly car.
that's why you
I
need
still
the
don't
shield
love
in
that
there.
car, but
I think I will say overall, I think he did a fine job.
I think
Mackie's
Anthony
good.
Mackie did
Yeah.
a great job.
I think he did good. I don't think they gave him all the right stuff to work with. I think this movie was very laden down with a bunch of existing stuff that it might have been really good to get a pure Captain America story that started off with no baggage,
Didn't have
and this had
as
a
much
lot of
baggage,
baggage.
yeah.
So maybe Captain
I don't
America
always know what
5.
they're doing.
Who knows?
yeah, I mean, even Giancarlo Esposito's character kind of just seemed like it came in out of nowhere.
That was
And-
shoehorned in there late.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, it was weird. It was all right.
it's a fine movie.
It's
fun.
a fine standalone movie.
It's
It didn't
way
ha-
better
there's no-
than Doctor Strange 2. It's way better than the Ant-Man 3.
Ant-Man Wasp 3.
It's better than
absolutely.
Eternals. Like it's better than a lot of other Marvel movies that have come out in the last 10 years.
I don't think it's better than Doctor Strange 2. It is way better than it's way better than
Quantumania.
Eternals. And I like the Marvels better than most people. So
No, I like the Marvels.
I like the Marvels.
Yeah, Marvels was also, to me, was kind of harmless in a way and fun.
it's doing relatively well. Okay, I mean it had depending on who you listen to it at 88 million to 100 million opening weekend. The Marvels opened to 49 million, Eternals 79 million, Ant-Man and the Wasp was 106, but fell through the floor after that. Thor: Dark World 85.
Oh, a Thor, that freaking that Love and Thunder. is
Iron
way
Man
better than
2
that.
was 128 million, And
that should have made more because that movie's awesome.
yeah. But
And if you look at the tomato meter,
yeah,
50% right now, but 80% on the
80%,
popcorn meter. So
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So and compared to the other Cap movies, First Avenger, $65 million. Okay, ultimately making $370 million. Winter Soldier, $95 million, ultimately making $714 million. Civil War, $179 million opening, making $1.1 billion total. So that was Avengers 2.5.
That was Avengers for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So
I did notice in my theater, and I saw it Saturday at 3. I don't think this is inappropriate, but there were a lot of black people in the theater. And I do think it's nice that they have like a A-list hero to embrace. And I think they were really embracing. Yeah, I know with
the loss of Black Panther.
So I think that's good.
Yeah, and the demographics are very different on this movie than some of the other. There's actually audience survey data that shows that that's consistent overall, Dave. And
I've always liked Anthony Mackie in these movies. I always think I think he does a great job. So there's no question. Like, it's not that I don't like his character. I kind of don't. I just wish maybe they had let him stay as Falcon and take on this role. I still don't get calling him Captain America.
That's fine. I think he needed to step up, and I think it's fine. I don't have a problem
I don't see that as a title that gets passed along. Just like I don't see them having a new Iron Man or a new Thor. Like, those aren't titles that get passed
honestly,
on.
I could have lived with him getting super soldier serum and losing the wings, and I think it looks a little less kind of shoehorned in that way. The fact that he's kind of a merger of those two characters is just complicated. So, and they've done it in the comics, but I don't think it works on screen as well. But there's just a lot of stuff there. But it's also, again, as you go, he doesn't have super soldier serum, so he's a lot more reliant on technology.
If he was just walking around, he'd be pummeled, probably.
Oh, absolutely. And and that's the thing. It's like just some of the things we saw happen to him, he wouldn't get up from. But,
When he was in that room looking at the emergency room and Bucky showed up, before they showed us it was Bucky, did you have any thoughts on who? I mean, it clearly felt like you were about to see a cameo. Did you have any thoughts on who it might be? Or did you just think it was going to be Bucky?
Were you thinking of Steve?
I was hoping maybe it would be Old Man Steve.
You know, it's interesting, and I have to go back on that point. When Alamo did the recap of Falcon and Winter Soldier, they claimed that there was an honoring of Steve because he passed away, and I don't know if that
they did make that. They did kind of say that,
media?
But they didn't really say it. And it was you can go back and watch it because I do remember it was ambiguous.
They were kind of
where
saying
was it? Was it in the show? In the
Yeah.
Falcon?
in the show? It was in the show.
No, I don't
Yeah.
remember the show well.
There's a lot of stuff I don't remember
Yeah.
about that show.
Yeah.
But they kind of were saying, at least the Alamo guy was like, and they kind of honored Steve, Old Man Steve, as he passed away, and then blah blah blah. They keep so. I didn't think
then that
whether that's true or not. I never thought that was going to be Steve.
Yeah.
There's no way you could do that.
Yeah, and it's hard. So post-credit sequence, we're not done with the multiverse yet. So,
I know that's what it was. Like,
well, but don't we need the multiverse at least to get the Fantastic Four
Right.
into our
Yep.
universe?
yeah,
And then maybe the X-Men into our universe? Or
Right.
something?
Does this tie into Fantastic Four?
oh
So
yeah,
what
that's
was
going to be
That
that,
was
and
my
also
take
like
on
Secret Wars. I think we'll tie into that, and yeah, so.
You gotta drop the multiverse.
They can't
Now
at this
there's
point.
rumors-
They can't at this point because it is their way. They're basically going to use the Star Trek Kelvin universe way to reboot. We're going to get a different unit. You know, it's not going to be forget everything you ever saw. This is the other planet where these things happened again. And now we have new actors. So otherwise it just gets too confusing.
When I saw that, and I'm like, you know, where worlds and blah, 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 it's like, are they going to make Tony Stark Doctor Doom? That just sort of popped into my head because...
Are you saying that is there a world somewhere where Tony Stark became Doctor Doom, and then we're going to end up with that Doctor Doom? It's possible.
That's what I know we kind of said that was stupid, but now that they confirm like there's other worlds coming, you're going to have to fight other worlds or something.
Hey, if Reed Richards mentions his college buddy Tony Stark, that's where they're going.
Ugh, that's awful.
Yep.
That's the stupid. This MCU does not need Robert Downey Jr. He's not going to save anything. I'm sorry to tell you.
You may not like what I'm about to say, but I'm almost looking for a jumping off point. Like if the whatever it's going to be called, this
Barry, it was called Endgame.
No, but I know that was the place, but I kept going, and I'm wondering if the thing the Russo brothers are doing might give us like a jumping off point.
The Russo brothers have done all the best stuff. Could they so completely jump the shark to really screw this all up? Well, the fact that they brought Robert Downey Jr. back at all is a bad move, I think. No matter
there better be a crazy, amazing twist that makes us go, oh, okay, now I see why they did that. If there isn't.
If that twist is he's the freaking Tony Stark from another universe that's Doctor Doom, that's a piece of shit. That's just like, you think this guy that you paid him $70 million a movie or whatever the hell is the key to keeping this going? No, it's good writing. It's not an actor.
If they wanted to bring Tony Stark back, there's ways they could have brought Tony Stark back. They totally could have done it and made it work. If they shoehorn Tony Stark into another character, that's not going to work. I
still don't think they need Robert Downey Jr. at all. Why is he even involved?
Don't know.
What do they think they're accomplishing? You think movies are making less money because he's not in them anymore? You're out of your freaking mind.
Yeah.
It's
definitely got people like us talking now. So, yeah. Okay, so
anyway.
You got 3 MCU films this year. You've seen one. What's going to be come July? What's going to be the best film of the 3?
I mean, I'm not confident in any of them. To be
I'm
honest
hoping
with you.
Fantastic Four is, but
It'll probably be Thunderbolts.
I think Thunderbolt's going to do the best, and I think Fantastic Four is going to be the best.
The fact that he won't shave his beard and mustache is stupid.
Well, the other thing is, I got to say, I talked to normals about the Fantastic Four trailer, and they are confused. So we'll see. I think Thunderbolts is going to be exactly what people need. I think it's going to be. I don't think you're going to have a lot of heavy lifting required to watch that film, and I think it's going to be fun. So
yeah, it's going to be the Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's Fantastic Four. I'm a little worried. It's been really hard to make a good Fantastic Four movie up till this point, and I was hopeful that they could do it as part of the MCU, but.
Again, it's always been shitty writing, though. That's the problem.
It's shitty writing, and,
not even
you don't know what to do with the
shitty writing, but also like the first 2 movies were a little too cartoonish. Like I was hoping the MCU was going to take it and take the subject matter and play it more serious.
But that wasn't the MCU.
No, Barry's saying he was hoping that this next.
I was hoping this next one was gonna. You know, and when I say more serious, I'm not saying it has to be like hard drama, but it can be comedy too. But just, I felt like the first, the other movies didn't take it too seriously. It was a little too tongue in cheek.
Well, because they they looked at the characters and they realized that if they took this too seriously, it was going to be silly, and they needed a different way. Again, like I said,
Well, I think
this
the Miles Teller it was very serious and was hard.
and now exactly that was
I forgot about that one entirely. I was thinking of the first two.
yeah.
Part of me, I gotta say, the thing that sticks out from those trailers for me is I don't know that I love Pedro and Vanessa Kirby in those roles. I just don't. There's something weird about her. She's got these weird eyes that I don't see her as Sue, and I don't see him as a Reed Richards. I know I'm hung up on this beard thing, but like, what is that all about?
But
it's definitely not traditional. Reed
It's
Richards.
not 60s. Yeah. No one wore that kind of facial hair, and he's too old.
But it is an alternate version. It's not Earth.
I don't actually think I don't think he's too old. I think Reed Richards is an older and has always been an older character. I mean, at least he had gray at the temples when he was introduced. So
I also don't know if I buy that freaking Stranger Things kid as Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
I mean, we said this last time. Barry was like, "Oh, it's hard to make blonde hair blonde." Not if you're spending $300 million. There are 50 million women with great blonde hair who do not have blonde hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His looked fake.
It does look like a wig.
So
I guess we'll
does he
see.
have his Metallica hair under that wig? I don't know.
I have high hopes. I really want it to be my favorite superhero movie of the year, but we'll see.
It's going to be Superman.
It might be.
All right, Todd, what's in the box?
Okay, so this is something that Sean recommended to me. This is a Micro Machines Ahsoka ship, and this is really, really cool. It's a Target thing. It's like $25. Really nicely detailed. It's got the little gangplank and the landing gear, which I will remember to close, unlike the first time, before I rotate to get it into the other mode.
Oh, cool.
It's got a little passenger compartment that opens, so it comes in 4 figures. The cockpit opens, the little bubble on the back for the little thing opens, but like
gunner's turret. Yeah.
Really, I think it's very, very nicely executed for what it costs. I tell you, if a kid had to open this thing up to get the figures inside, they would break this thing because it's very tight. But it's really well executed, and I love the ship anyways.
It's a cool ship, yeah.
It's very...
It looks like they did a good job with it.
It's very Star Wars design. You can't look at this and think of any universe other than Star Wars because it uses a lot of their design principles. But there is like a door on the inside that you can open so the gangplank actually goes into the main area inside the ship, which is, like I said, just really kind of cool design on this. And it's good size. I think the wingspan's about 13 inches or so, or 14 inches. And, yeah, I like that a lot. So
very cool.
Cool. Barry, what do you got?
I have a new piece of art that I got from Regal Robot. They had done a 9-num maquette a year or two ago. Excuse me. And it was before they were doing the sketch editions. So they've gone back to some of the artists that did those original busts, and they're getting them now to do sketches that you can do along with them. And Dave Carson does amazing art with these, doing them in watercolor. This is it's a 9-num. I think that I forget how many of these they made. I think it was under 100 of them. But he, I think maybe it was about 80 of them. This one is cool. It's 9-num, sort of as in the cockpit of a ship with the starfield behind him. It's a really, really, really cool piece of art. So
that is cool.
I'll post a picture of that for everybody. But that's what's in the box.
And
Dave.
The actor was
Mike Quinn.
Mike Quinn.
Yeah,
he's great.
Friend of the show.
Great guy.
Mike
couple years ago.
Really interesting guy.
This is not anything sort of fun, but I've been using, now no one can see this, but I was using these headphones that I'm wearing that are fairly new. I bought Audio-Technica headphones to go with our mics because I would like to wear over-the-ear headphones when I edit, especially, and also when I watch YouTube and stuff sometimes. And I'm like, the cord on this, which I wrapped around my desk, was just too short and very annoying. So anyway, I'm like, oh, I need wireless headphones. I probably have bought Mark 3 pairs of $300 headphones in the past 10 years, and I'm like, why don't I get? And I'm like, I'm not spending $300 on freaking Bose or Apple headphones. It's just ridiculous. Why we buy our kids those? But so I was poking around. These are Soundcore by Anchor. As we know, Anchor makes a lot of batteries. Yep. They were $40, and they are great. They have the most comfortable ear cups I've ever had. And I don't know, this maybe it's new to me because I buy these old headphones. They have the L and the R in the headphone, which I hadn't seen before. But
kind of range?
For $40.
What kind of range do you have with them?
Oh, I don't know. I use them a foot away, so I haven't.
And
really
it's Bluetooth.
Them.
Connects with Bluetooth.
Bluetooth, yes, Bluetooth headphones. But I don't compare. I don't know why the Bose need to be $250 if you can get these for $40. I don't get it. How much better could they sound?
Hard to say without hearing them, Dave. But as a sound guy, it all a lot of times.
I guarantee you, there's significantly less bass in those than there is in the Bose, which is always overdone in the Bose. So,
which might be a good thing, depending on what you're listening to and what you're going to use them for.
Yeah.
And I have not great hearing in one ear, so I'm not spending $300 on a pair of headphones. So that's what's in the box. Check them out; they're $40 on Amazon. And I will buy cheap stuff on Amazon by no-name brands, but the fact that they're Anchor made me feel better because they do make a lot of other good stuff. So I'm like, okay, there you go.
Nice.
So that's what's in the box. Okie dokie. Next week, big show. You know, when I say that, I have no idea what we're doing. But
between now and then, we'll figure it out.
So wait, we sort of gave. So Todd gave it a 6.5. Barry, what do you give?
Yeah, I would say that's
6.5. Yeah,
6.5.
I gotta look at my Marvel list and see what else is a 6.5. But,
yeah, I mean, as a fun popcorn movie, it doesn't break anything. It doesn't break any new ground necessarily. Like, doesn't open up new storylines, but it fits. It's fine.
As long as you don't do what we did and sort of bring in all the baggage that it doesn't necessarily really have.
If we didn't do that, it would have been a 10-minute show.
Oh, I know that, but I'm saying. So I don't want you, there is a lot of baggage that you don't need to bring to you. Just bring some popcorn. No, buy the popcorn, hide some candy and water in your jacket, and don't bring any other baggage. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.